Seth emailed me out of the blue from a globe standpoint, arguing the rotation of the stars in the north and the south prove that the Earth is a globe, and I was explaining how that's just a false premise. I'm unsure if he fully got it yet because we went back and forth a bunch of times. And then we got to the point where we were talking about curvature, and he said if you're going to claim that they don't calculate for curvature in bridges, prove it with the Lake Pontchartrain Bridge. And thanks to my lunch break, I actually had the blueprints for the Lake Pontchartrain Bridge, and I sent it to him. And I think I got a little pause in his globe attacking, or his globe defending. So, Seth, where are you in the country? You're in the U.S. Where are you about? What state?
I am in Tennessee right now.
Tennessee.
I moved from Florida about a year ago.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
and I asked before we started this, is the Earth a ball or a globe? And your answer was you're still leaning globe, right? And this is Angel, by the way. Angel.
Yeah, I've seen him on your videos before.
Okay.
What's
Nice
up,
to meet
buddy?
you, Angel.
Yeah. So,
Nice to meet you.
what's your stance today?
Okay, so I still lean more towards the globe because there's things that can't be answered in the globe. Like, so I've been watching you for a while, and I was a flat earther for a while. But the main things that get me are the star rotations and just the science on. And I don't think all scientists are like in on this big scheme that
Neither do
when
I.
you when so like just spectroscopy, the study of the stars.
Spectroscopy, the
Yeah,
study of the star.
of light.
How do you study stars?
So that's the thing. I was looking into it a lot, and they can look at the wavelengths through, and that doesn't change. And like you could see whether the sun has helium on it, whether or not it has this certain.
Have you ever done that, or somebody told you that they did that?
Somebody told me
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Do you off the top of your head know the radius of the Earth?
it's like 24,900 something.
That's the circumference.
Oh, the radius 4,000,
Yeah,
8,000
it's just
something.
under 4,000.
Do you know
Can you
do you
go
know the
ahead.
curvature rate? Do you know the curvature rate?
8 inches per mile square.
You know how much curvature there
Yeah,
is in 10 miles?
It's like 60 something feet.
Very good. All right.
six.
All right. So a lot of times people say I was a flat earther and I became a globe earther. They're full of shit, but at least you know the flat earth model a little bit. So
Yeah.
what, you said that the star rotation
Yeah.
is
See,
it, you
there's
still
things
think
that I
that
can.
they spin in different directions, right?
Yeah.
All right, let me show you a time lapse. I went to America. I was in Arizona, and I faced my camera in 4 different directions. So let me pull up the video. So this is me. This is my video, personal video that I took in Arizona. And you can see in the first video, I was facing Polaris and we're going counterclockwise. All I did was turn around 180 degrees and they go clockwise. And then I faced 90 degrees. They're facing east, they're rising. And then 180 degrees from that again, west, and they're setting. So you get 4 different directions in the same exact location.
And if he did the exact same thing in Australia, he would have the exact same rotations in the exact same directions.
Yeah, it
Okay.
doesn't
So
matter
what
where you are.
about
Yeah.
So
so?
before we switch, do you now understand that the statement stars rotate in opposite directions in opposite hemispheres is an untrue statement?
Okay, but see that's what confuses me is because he's in one area turning around in different locations. So what about like because it
That's true.
anybody
That's
could do
true
it
for
though.
anywhere.
I
That's
know
true
so,
for
but
anywhere on the earth. Yeah.
If you were
so
in
it's not
Australia,
true.
he's in Australia right now. I'm in the United States. You're in the United States. We had anybody anywhere in the world, and we said, "All right, everyone, go outside and do a time lapse facing north." They would all go counterclockwise. Every single person on every single position on Earth. When you face a camera north, the stars go counterclockwise. When you turn around, no matter where you are, they go clockwise.
Yeah.
So you're
So
saying
on
in the
our
different
globe, oh,
hemispheres?
It does no
Seriously?
hemispheres.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. No matter where you are, north or south. If you think you're on a globe, I don't care. But no matter where you are, when you face north, all the stars go counterclockwise. So the
Yeah.
statement that stars rotate in the opposite direction in opposite hemispheres is a untrue, false, empty claim that is provably wrong.
So Seth, according to your globe, okay, this people that debate for the globe don't make this argument anymore because it's not even true on your globe. The
Okay.
globe is only the globe's only spinning in one direction. How can the stars go different directions? You'd have to claim that the globe's doing this and turning in opposite directions. It's not doing that. It's all going the same direction.
I think it's more
It's
of the
not.
concept that these people are looking this way and these people are looking that way. So it's, yeah, it's going the same way, but this looks like it's going
So
that way. But since you're looking down, it changes.
it's the whole clockwise and counterclockwise things is incorrect because you're upside down. Sure, if you could be upside down, but it works perfectly on a flat Earth. But to say that they go in opposite directions, they don't. I don't care if you're upside down or not. When you because your statement is when if someone in the south, when they look south, it goes clockwise, and someone in the north, when they look north, it goes counterclockwise. That's true for both of them. Doesn't matter where they
Okay,
are.
so question real quick. So say someone is in the southern hemisphere and they do what you did. They look this way
Yeah,
and it changes. They look this way, it changes.
yeah.
So the other a person in the northern hemisphere, say they do the same thing, will it still be the same thing, or is it
Exactly.
still
Yes.
rotating?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Your globe's
See,
only spinning one direction. It's the same on a globe. Your globe's only spinning one way.
so where's this claim coming from then? Like,
It's
It's coming. Okay, look, it's coming from globies that don't know their own model. Their own paradigm
see,
doesn't claim that.
yeah.
They don't
So
I can
understand it. It's a
understand what
straw
you're
man.
saying, but like I want to see kind of like a demonstration, like on a model. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I'll show you.
because
I'll
I'm
show you.
trying to
No
picture
problem.
it.
I'll,
Okay.
I'll bring that
go
up.
outside and do it. Go outside tonight and look north. Do a time lapse, and they will go counterclockwise,
And
and then
I'm
turn
saying,
around.
I'm not saying to do that. I'm saying the actual, like being in the southern hemisphere and then being in the northern hemisphere. I
It's
can't
the
obviously go travel
same
like that.
thing. It's the same. Do it on Stellarium. You have it on Stellarium,
Is that the app?
Angel.
Yeah, Dave, I'll bring up the dome model. I'll show him on that.
All right.
It's easy, and it's the same thing on a globe because your globe's only going one way. So here's a flat Earth dome model. Whether it's a globe or a flat Earth, you see in a dome of vision, you see the sky touch the ground, and it creates a circle around you, an equidistant circle. So here, I'm going to spin the stars one direction, east to west. Same thing on the globe, kinematically equivalent. And if we're facing north, you see how the stars appear to be going counterclockwise. Okay. Now, all I'm going to do is turn around and face south, and I'm going to spin the stars the same way, and they're going clockwise. And it doesn't matter where I put that, north or south, it's going to be the same thing for both observers. So again, south facing clockwise, facing north, same directions, counterclockwise.
You're
All you've
looking
done
at the
is turn around.
stars on that little dome of vision. And so they're going in the same direction, but you just turned around. So no matter if he slid that dome to the north, it's the same thing. Nothing changes.
Also, I
So is
can
this
actually
like
show.
inaccurate though, or is this like you made this and it kind of like fits the way that you want it to be, or is this
No,
like an actual?
Here, Angel, stop sharing for a second. So here we have Stellarium, and you can do it anywhere in the world. This is north. This is showing me that I'm looking north. And the stars are going counterclockwise. No matter where I am on the earth, if I'm looking north, the stars will go counterclockwise. But then if I just turn 180 degrees, no matter where I am, let me turn, and we'll get to dead south. Here's dead south right here. And I turn on the star rotation again. Here it's going clockwise. Everything's
Okay, so
going,
go back to the
everything's
first one
going,
real quick.
everything's going clockwise. It's going
So
clockwise.
if you were in that exact same position right there in a different hemisphere, would it still look like that?
Exactly. We said that already.
I know that's why I'm confused because everybody's saying the opposite. So it's
So
like
this
they're
is what.
making it seem
Let me
like
give you the how the globe gets people. They say things like they're true, and then they show you, look, this is how it happens. But they don't even show you on this one. They just make an empty claim. They say that water rotates in the opposite direction in the southern hemisphere. That's not true, right? They say that Coriolis exists. It's not true. They say they just make empty claims. You know what they also say? There's no proof of flat Earth. There's only proof of flat Earth. They say these things as a fact, and usually they say it with an Australian or an English accent, and people go like, "Oh, that guy must really know what he's talking about," right?
See, but then I feel like the burden of proof is like it's a tough
All right,
an actual experiment to find out because you got two people saying different things, and then one
Seth,
person can
Seth,
seem
this
convincing.
is something you can verify yourself in 2 minutes. Call somebody up, have them do it. He just did it for you. Think about it. You'll understand that that is true. So once you verify this, you have to take the southern star, the different rotation of the stars, which doesn't happen, off your book. Why do you think the Earth
Okay.
is the globe?
Okay. See, and that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of things that make sense on flat Earth, but there's also things that I can't. Like another thing would be
I can't explain everything on flat Earth.
okay. I know. I'm saying like
Do you have a car?
there's yeah.
Okay. Do you know how the catalytic converter works in your car?
Oh yeah.
You do?
No, I'm just playing. I don't know. I don't.
I don't even know where it is. Okay. Right. But you have a car. You can't explain everything
Yeah.
about your car. You know that gas explodes, a spark. You know the basics of it, but you really can't
Yeah.
explain it perfectly. We don't know everything about this Earth, but we can prove things that aren't true. We can prove that we're not a ball in a space vacuum or anything. All right. Go to your next point.
Okay. So what about like the 24-hour sun, like in Antarctica?
Have you seen it? I haven't.
So, but okay. So the claim would be that if it's true, then we can't explain it, but if it's not true,
Well,
then
that's not true at all.
Well,
Go ahead. Go
so
ahead,
like
Angel.
if it is true, can
no.
you explain
Yeah, it's been modeled, but the thing is, right, this is a straight up big in the question fallacy. If I say to you, the Earth is a giant tortoise, and if you go to the south of that tortoise, there's going to be a 24-hour sun, and we see the 24-hour sun in the south, is the Earth a giant tortoise that I haven't proven? No.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
What you have to do is you have to give us the evidence for Earth being a globe first to even make that claim. You don't have evidence for Earth spinning, you don't have evidence for Earth orbiting, and you have no evidence for curvature. We can go through all these, and until you pass every single one, you can't even make that claim.
And
That's
then,
working
if
on
you want to
globe.
claim that a light in the sky motion proves the shape of the Earth, first you have to prove what that light in the sky is, how far away it is, right? So the heliocentric explanation is that light in the sky, the sun, is made of helium and hydrogen, which defy gravity on Earth. Gases violently fill the available space. So gas in an infinite space vacuum would just go poof, be gone. And you would never, ever see a molecule again. But for some reason, helium and hydrogen can gather in space, collapse upon itself, turn into a nuclear furnace, burn 640 billion tons. I forget if it's a minute or an hour, but it doesn't matter. 640 billion tons every short period of time for billions of years. It never gets any smaller. That gas that defies gravity on Earth can hold on to Pluto and Uranus and Neptune, but it ignores our moon, right? You have to prove stuff that people in Narnia would laugh at.
So if that were true, though, you would be able to do the calculation on the gravitational pull from the moon to our Earth, and that would be much greater than the Earth to the sun, right?
Seth, there's no evidence for gravity. I could still man your
So
position
what
on gravity,
about
and there's no
things
evidence for
falling
it.
in a vacuum at the same speed?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. You just debunked gravity. So the things
No,
with
I'm
greater
saying,
mass should fall faster.
I know.
The
So
things,
it's gravity's not
y-
something that we can touch, but it's a concept. Like no matter where we
yeah,
are, things are going to fall at
yeah,
9.81 meters per second.
yeah. You just debunked gravity formula by
Yeah.
I
saying
know.
that.
So can you
Seth,
explain
hold on,
why?
hold on. Slow down, slow down.
Okay.
So you're jumping from programming point to programming point to programming point. You've been programmed. First question is, have you ever dropped a feather and a bowling ball in a vacuum yourself?
No.
But you've seen it on video, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know who did that? Who was it that
Brian
did it on the
Cox.
video? Yeah,
Yeah, Brian
Lying
Cox.
Box. Lying Box did it. Okay. And did you actually watch the video carefully?
No.
Okay. Well, of course, because they just said, and when they drop the ball and the feather, there's 7 edits on the way down. It's not just like, all right, here comes, boom. And then they show it in slow motion. Edit, edit, edit. It's like a NASA launch. Edit. Do you believe we went to the moon?
See, this is the I.
Just as
No,
yes
I
or no.
don't.
Do
I
you
don't.
believe we went
No,
to the moon?
no,
Okay,
no.
thank God.
I think it's pretty. It's
Because
pretty obvious.
I was just going to like turn this into kindergarten if you believe we went to the moon. So that video itself is lying. But if they landed at the same time, that disproves gravity. But they
The
say
thing with
it
greater
proves the
mass.
opposite. Yeah.
So why do they fall at the same time though? Like why do they fall at the same
Did they
speed when
fall
there's
at the
no
same
air?
time? I don't know. I just saw a highly edited movie by a
So
guy
what
that
makes you think it was
lies.
edited though?
Edit, like cuts when you're watching a movie and it switches scenes and switches angles. That's an edit.
Oh, you're talking about there's different like camera
Camera
angles.
angles,
Boom, boom,
camera,
boom.
this
Okay,
camera, this
I need
it
to
switch.
watch it again.
It switches like 7 times.
They didn't just
Okay,
show
so
it fall like
basically,
this and we see it.
They didn't just have a camera on the ground going, okay, here it comes, and a camera at the top. Here it goes. Nope. Edit, slow motion. I mean, it's literally a movie.
okay,
Listen,
so with that knowledge, that
Seth,
means
can
everything
we,
has to be not fake, but like, what if it were to be? What if someone were to take you to a vacuum and it were to be
Seth,
true?
at the end of the day, dude, things can fall down on a flat Earth.
Yeah, I mean,
You
but
know what I
can
mean?
you
This
explain
does
the
not have
phenomenon though?
anything.
Right.
Yes, we
Our
can.
claim is
Ours is provable.
things fall down in the same direction everywhere on Earth. Your claim is things go in opposite directions.
Okay, so but in order for this to be true, you're saying that it has to be fake. That Brian Cox faked that video. You're
No,
saying
it
that.
could.
You,
No,
No.
so
no,
listen,
What we're saying.
go ahead.
so if things do if things do fall at 9.81 meters per second in a vacuum, what would be the answer to that?
All right.
Well, that's the thing. That rate is an accepted average. That's not even like it changes. It changes with
So if it
weather
changes though,
storms, lightning,
is it changes by seconds or is it like microseconds? Like is it
like
Seth,
something that's
little amounts, little
yeah,
amounts.
Seth,
so?
But the thing
But so,
is,
but why
okay,
is it like why is
Seth,
it this like very
Seth,
accurate?
just
Yeah.
relax for a second. You got to slow down. You got to let us
No, I am.
finish.
I'm just
When we're
I'm
talking,
excited.
let us finish. All right.
Okay. Okay.
The claim that they hit the ground at the same time may be true. It may be false. I just saw a highly edited video by a guy that lies. All right. But it doesn't prove the globe. It actually disproves gravity. The bowling ball should hit first. It has more mass. It's being attracted more than the feather. It should hit first. But the fact that they went at the same, what does that prove? That the globers will so they'll do an experiment and say, this proves the globe. In reality, it actually proves the opposite. Neil deGrasse Tyson says, Eratosthenes had 3 wells, it wouldn't work. Actually, it does work. And he shows you that it does work, but he says it doesn't. And people's eyes glaze over. It's that simple. During electrical storms, things fall at different rates. Sometimes when lightning strikes the ground next to somebody, they go flying in the air. Did the lightning turn off the gravity or did something else happen?
What about things that have negative charges or neutral charges that don't do that?
Everything has a charge.
But
everything
there's
has.
things
There's
that
no
have neutral
neutral.
charges, right? Are you
No,
sure?
it's always in flux. It's always in flux. There's
Yeah.
no.
And when you're above the ground, you're surrounded by this positive charge, measurable, testable, scientifically provable. The ground has a neutral or negative charge, however you want to classify it. It's not moving, testable, provable. And we can manipulate things going up and down by changing their electrostatic charge.
So is that charge always on, or does it take something
Always.
to
Yes.
turn that charge on?
Yeah.
Always.
No, the
So when
Earth always have it.
yeah, my theory is when lightning strikes next to somebody, it changes the electrostatic charge of the Earth for a split second, ejects the person into the air.
Yeah, so think about it very simply. A helium balloon is not an anti-gravity device. It's just less dense than the air. It goes up. It rises to seek equilibrium to where the less dense stuff is. So a rock is more dense than air. It seeks to go down through the medium.
Yeah.
So if I throw that rock in water, it's more dense than the water. It's going to fall through the water until its resting place. Everything's seeking inertia. So if I throw an apple in water, it's going to go through the air. It's more dense than the air. Lands on the water,
Yeah.
floats on the water because it's less dense than the water. We have an
Yeah, I understand
electrostatic
the
gradient.
concept. I'm
Yeah,
just like,
well,
what
we have an
confuses me is
electrostatic
that
gradient in the atmosphere, constantly discharging to the Earth, creating that small downward bias, and the force of density and buoyancy supersedes that.
And the people that
So
push
it's a calm.
gravity, they say, and I don't believe it, that the electrostatic force, which is provable, scientifically testable, manipulatable, is 10 to the 36 power stronger than gravity. You can't fathom that difference. So even if gravity was real, it would never stand a chance next to the electrostatic force. That your gravitational guys say is 10 to the 36 power stronger. I don't think that is even a real number. 10 to the 36 is ridiculous, right? If you took a grain of sand and made it 10 to the 36 times bigger, how big do you think it would be? A grain of
I have
sand.
no idea.
What would you
I have
compare
no
it
idea.
to? You have to take a guess. What would you compare it to?
So you're saying like each time it doubles
So every
or the
time
size?
you're 10 to the 36 times bigger.
The size of the Earth,
All right.
smaller. I don't know.
Close. It's actually 10,000 times wider than the known universe. Okay. Okay. So
Okay.
that number is absolutely uncomparable. That basically they're telling us the truth. The truth is that gravity doesn't exist.
And see, look, I'm not like a full one side, full other side. It's just there's things
I,
that I want to be able to know.
all right.
Like I don't
So
I don't want to be able to say like someone's like this is
look,
how it works,
look,
and me like just
look,
believe them. You know what I mean?
down is down on a flat earth everywhere. Very easy. And the earth isn't moving. On a globe, we're spinning. So this guy's pirouetting like a ballerina. This guy is going 24,000 miles an hour or 1,000 miles an hour, right? This guy's going 500 miles an hour. Shouldn't he be leaning? Shouldn't that be like lean him over? You ever stand on a spinning merry-go-round? It's trying to throw you off. Shouldn't his up and down be crooked? I mean, this is insane. And they
So
call
what they
us
would say
insane.
is it's to the center of the mass. So
Why
my
does
question
everything
would
go to
be,
the center? Not like to what like look at the Earth as every individual atoms, and it's getting more and bigger and bigger. And this one atom says, "I'm the center. Everyone comes to me." But there's another atom halfway between the center and halfway between the surface. He goes, "No, no, everybody come to me." Like, wouldn't it be pulling us in all different directions? Why does everything go to the center if the Earth is an oblate sphere? I can't say that word. Oblate sphere. Um,
Yeah.
you would be leaning in certain places. I mean, the gravitationalists say that the water bulges 14 miles high at the equator due to the spin. Why isn't Africa underwater? They say ridiculous things that people can't process, right? So we've taken away your star rotation issue. Go verify it yourself. Everything we're saying is absolutely true. What else makes you think the Earth is a globe?
so what about like say people that study light, like spectroscopy, and like say they can say there's this one star that has this certain element and it emits this certain photon only when it has the element, and this sun that emits hydrogen and helium, and like you can measure these wavelengths and you can tell what type of elements they have. So why are they getting
So
the same wavelengths as those elements?
so they first of all, spectroscopy needs to be done. When you're doing it on gas, it needs to be contained. And it needs to be isolated and done very locally. You can't do spectroscopy in terms of cosmological scale. There's,
I mean, but
it's
it's the
like,
study of
dude, think
light,
about
though.
this.
So
No, well, it's the study of light, looking at, but they're telling you that
So
they
you're saying light
know
needs
the
a
mass of
container?
stars. They know the mass of stars. They know what they're made of. They know how big it is, how far away it is. All these things. If I stood on a mountain 10 miles away and they did spectroscopy on my shirt here, do you reckon they'd tell me what this is made of?
right. Another example is if I had a garbage can filled with a gas, nitrogen, helium, hydrogen, oxygen, whatever, and I was a mile down the road and you had the top of the line spectroscopy equipment and I opened up the top, could you tell me what gas comes out of there? I've never seen anyone demonstrate that. No one's ever been able.
Now I
They just
couldn't,
tell
but
they tell you
there's some
stories about
manipulation there.
spectroscopy. Spectroscopy can be done in a contained system, but
So
over
wait,
great
spectroscopy
distances,
is
it's
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 the
a
study of the
story you've
light,
been
though.
told.
So like, so say someone were to flash a flashlight from 10 miles away, and they were to study the wavelengths on those lights and what they were made out of. You're saying that they need a container in order to do that?
That's
You're in
not
it.
what they're doing. That's not what they're doing.
That's
They're
what
looking at an
spectroscopy is,
object.
though.
No, they're looking at an object and seeing the light from it, and then breaking that into a prism of a rainbow and saying, "Oh, look, there's more red in this one. It must be made of this." That's insanity, dude. By the
So
way,
why do you
how
think it
does
needs a
this? How,
container, though?
hang on, because gas needs a container. You
But
Can
can't
you
you're
have
studying the gas,
you
you're
you
studying
can't.
the light, right?
can you bring me
Yeah,
5 gallons of helium without a container right now?
I mean, if you need it,
Without a
no, I can't.
container,
I
how are you
can't.
gonna do it?
No, I can't. I can't.
Can anybody do it?
No,
Why not?
because it needs a container.
Thank you.
I know, but
okay,
that's what I'm
so
saying. There's gases, and we're talking about the study of light that is emitted
dude,
from objects.
They're saying the stars are gases. How do they know that? That's
Yeah.
insane, dude. Do you know how many laws that violates? That violates all the gas laws and the second law of thermodynamics. It's game over with just one of those. How can you have gas in a vacuum without it filling the vacuum? I could show you an
See,
entropy
I don't know.
experiment. Yeah, well, according to entropy, gas fills available space. I could show you an entropy experiment done on Earth where we
So what
open a
is their
little tube,
claim on why it does? Like, what's their
gravity,
claim
but I
on
can
why?
dis gravity. I can disprove that in 2 seconds. We can go through that.
See, I'm not trying to sound a certain way. I want to find the truth, and there's things that don't make sense to me. So I'm
But
not
you're
going to
not
just like
you're
take one side.
believing stories. You believe the Brian Cox video. You believe that the stars rotate in opposite directions. You never checked it out. You never looked into it. Those two things are off the table. So now you're going into spectroscopy, which is a story that you've heard. So these stars, they can tell you what they're made of, but the story on stars is they come from nebulas that are made out of dust and gas that just is floating around in a space vacuum, uncontained. And then it collapses and makes a star. And then it spits that star out like a ping pong ball machine. And that star goes and parks itself somewhere else. Why didn't the entire nebula turn into a star? How do you have gas and dust in a space vacuum floating? These are
Yeah.
stories that make no sense. And the reason you can't figure it out is not because you're stupid, it's because it's stupid. It's stupid and you can't figure it out. So then you just defer like, well, they said it must be true. The guy has a pocket protector. He's wearing a white lab coat. I got to believe him. It's
So, but the
nonsense.
burden of proof is up to you because you're the one that's claiming that
No,
it's
no,
fake.
we're not
No,
claiming
we're
anything.
not
We
claiming
didn't
No, no,
claim.
okay,
anything.
but if
Hang on.
spectroscopy is true, and like you're saying that in order for flat Earth to be true, spectroscopy has to be fake. This has
No,
to be fake. This has to
no,
be
That's not
fake.
no,
what we said.
not what we're
That's not what
saying.
we said.
So
We,
can you go more
we,
onto like when they measure these lights from the sun and it has the same wavelengths that give off helium and hydrogen?
can you
Like,
show it? Can you show it? Can you show that, please? Can we see the evidence
I
for
mean,
that?
I could look up the answer for it, but so but that's what I'm
Let's see
saying.
the
You're saying
video.
that.
You said you've seen it. Let's see it. Let's see it.
No,
I'd like to
that's
see
what I've
it.
heard. Like that's the
Yeah.
explanation of
That's
it.
what
Well,
you've heard from the people that are lying to you. You heard it from NASA.
I mean,
NASA's
so you have to
not a
prove it's a
space
lie, though.
agency, right? Well, we've proven NASA to lie about
No, no, no,
everything,
not NASA. I agree. I'm
but
talking
they're
about
the
like you
ones
have to.
telling you. The liars are the one that are telling you. So we don't have to prove it fake. They have to prove it real, and they haven't. Here's the other issue. They're looking at stars and telling you what they're made of, right? And they're telling you, oh, that star is 200 trillion miles away and whatever. That's close cosmologically, but that's complete and total bullshit. When you look in the sky, at Sirius and Orion. Sirius is a little bigger, Orion's a little smaller. But when I take my P1000, I can zoom in and I can make Sirius this big. It fills up half the viewfinder. Wow, I'm zooming in on a star that's 50 trillion miles away, and I can fill up half the viewfinder. While Orion, I can zoom in, I can almost make it as big. Almost. It's pretty close. I can zoom in, right? The problem is if Orion was twice as far away, it would have to be twice as big for me to zoom it in to the same size. You understand that?
Yeah.
If it was 10 times as far away, it'd have to be 10 times bigger or something like that, right? So the problem is Orion is 50 million times farther away. 52 million. So Orion would need to be 52 million times bigger than Sirius for me to be able to zoom it in. 52 million times bigger.
dude,
Right?
according to the
Just finishing, this wipes out that the distances that stars are. It wipes out their sizes. And now that you want to believe them, that they can tell you that what gases they're made out of?
I mean, because like the explanation they give it makes sense. So that's what I'm saying.
It
Like
doesn't
yours
make
makes
sense.
sense,
It
but
doesn't make sense. You just believe it because that's what you've been programmed to since you've been 5 years old. You're basing this stuff on you were told the earth was a globe when you were 5 or even before, and you built your whole world around it, and you're having a hard time breaking that programming. They tell
set.
you that the North Star, Polaris, is directly above the North Pole on the globe, and south of the equator, you can't see it, but it can be seen from as far as 30 degrees south. Therefore, we've debunked their spinning globe again. Go ahead, Angel.
How did they isolate the star that they're looking at that's, by the way, trillions of miles away? How did they isolate? How do they know that it's not the Atmos? That would change the entire reading. How did they isolate that? They can't. They didn't.
I mean, if
That's
you
what I'm
say you
saying. It
were in
has
a
to be done
vacuum,
locally.
so if you were in a
No, I'm
vacuum,
saying if you're on Earth and you're looking at a star, you're looking through an entire region, 70 miles at least, of thick gas. How did they
yeah,
isolate that? How did they
I'm sure
isolate that?
they probably
They
have
didn't do that.
telescopes in the vacuum of
No.
space to get it.
You're
I mean, they
sure?
do. They
Wait, hold
probably
on,
did
hold
No.
on.
eventually.
What'd you say? You're sure that they probably had telescopes?
Mhm.
Did you just make that
No,
up?
because they do. No,
Did
they
you
do
just make
have.
that up? Where did you get that
No,
information
no,
from?
because I've looked it up before. Obviously, that makes
You
sense. They
looked it
can.
up. Well, who told you? NASA again?
Come
Okay,
on,
so
man. This is
that's
called
where
an
that's
ad
where we get to
hoc.
either one person's line or the other person's line. So it's like the burden of proof is
Seth,
the actual science. It's
Seth,
not to like.
Seth, Seth, it's not science. It's an observation for starters. We're in a category error. This is not science.
I know, but
They're not isolating the Atmos.
they can make predictions based off those observations, and those
What
predictions are right.
predictions? Which
That
ones?
okay, um, that
That the
the
stars
like
that the stars are gas in a vacuum that violates the second law
This
of
looks like
thermodynamics?
Angel. This looks like gas 200 trillion miles away, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, totally, yeah.
but is that off like a camera or is that off like a telescope?
What's the difference?
A
Doesn't matter.
telescope has way more
I've seen
magnitude.
that. I've seen this through a telescope
That's
myself
not
with my own
true.
eyes.
That's not true. Telescopes have the eyepiece is the magnification. The mirror is just how much light it's collecting.
So therefore, it can see better and farther and more
That's
clear,
not
right?
true.
So you're saying they can both see the same
Well,
clarity then?
the telescope can collect more light, but there's plenty of light here to see.
But is that looking
Telescope
through
sees
from
that.
Earth or is that in space
A
looking
telescope
into
will see
gas?
that also. Absolutely.
That's on Earth, dude. That's a normal everyday person taking that
Yeah.
video. That's
Here's another one.
So I'm saying someone that doesn't have to worry about looking through air and
So
stuff when they're actually in
what are
space.
you saying? What's going on? This one's completely different than that one. Do you think that it's having a different viewing effect, or is it viewing something different?
Okay. I don't know.
well,
There's things that
look,
don't make
dude.
sense and there's things that do make sense.
Let let's how about we go back to the Earth, dude? Like let's go for like your evidence of Earth spinning, and then we'll go to curvature. If you can prove Earth spinning, then you know maybe we can talk about other stuff. But I mean, this is just getting us nowhere, man.
What
I
about
could spend the
parallax?
next.
Like,
There's no parallax observed from Earth, dude. That's insane.
no, but
That's a
from
claim.
what they said,
Do you
there's certain stars that are like
Who
you
says?
can measure the
NASA?
parallax.
NASA says that
do you
What's
realize
your what's your
they
proof that
say
it's
that
not true then?
because
I'll give it to you right
the
now.
good good.
So they have a thing set. They say that the Earth is on a wobble. So basically, the stars, I believe, shift. It's 1 degree every 71 years, I believe. The Polaris and all the stars should shift out of place. Now, there's this thing called the Georgia Guidestones, which were erected for 42 years, I believe. And I did the math on it. It's very easy. So
Yeah,
basically, in that 42-year time period, the star Polaris should have shifted out of the hole more than half a degree. Half a degree is a full moon width diameter in the sky. So if you see a full moon in the sky, that's half a degree in diameter. That's how much
yeah.
Polaris should have shifted out of that hole, and it didn't do that. You don't have to wait hundreds and billions of trillions of years. You could wait 42 years, and that monument debunked that
Yeah,
the Earth was moving.
you do a time lapse of this hole. Polaris is always there. It's been up for over 40 years. The Polaris should have been out of that hole by a great distance. It was not. We made a video. It started going super viral, and then a terrorist blew up the Georgia Guidestones because
I've
rock
heard of it
solid
before.
evidence. Yeah. So you say we have to have evidence. Here's evidence. Oh, they blew it up. So now we don't have evidence. And now it'll just be a story. And the flat earthers never did that. And it wasn't true. It was true. There's other monuments on Earth right now that have that. You have this one in I forget where it is. It's a war memorial on 11/11, November 11th at 11:11 a.m. The sun shines through all these holes perfectly to light up this monument, this whatever this war hero thing. So that's crazy. And then you have stuff. You were in Florida, Coral Castle. There's a
Yeah.
there's this whole thing right here. There's a little X up in this, and if you look through this from line this stone up, you'll see that the Polaris will make a little circle make a little circle, and it'll tell you what season you're in. And it's been up for I don't know how many years now, decades, and Polaris is still doing the exact same thing. So we're not wobbling. We're not wobbling. This is rock solid evidence again. We're
So
not
what's the
moving.
claim on how much it should move? Like what time period? How much?
1 degree
so
every 72 years.
So how long has it been up?
It's been up for decades.
like I said, the
So
Georgia Guidestones we showed you earlier were up at 42 years, so that's half the amount. So the stars again should have shifted more than half a degree, which is a full moon width out of that hole. Didn't do that. That's 42
yeah.
years. That's all you need. And it was up for that long. It didn't do it. So what evidence do you have for the Earth spinning? Let's just try and get, why do you think it's spinning? Give me your best evidence why the Earth is spinning.
I would say the main thing that gets me is there's this one model that can make predictions and work more, and there's a lot of things in the flat Earth model that make more sense than the globe, but there's also things that can't be explained that confuses me, like the 24-hour sun and stuff like. And I know you're gonna say the lights in the sky don't dictate the shape of the Earth, but you
But
still
why
need
do
to
you
be
think
able
the
to
Earth is
explain.
spinning? Why do you think the Earth is
Uh,
spinning? Scientifically, why do you think it's spinning?
because
Do you
how
see
often the sun sets
when
and
you go to
moves.
the beach, you see the sun move across the sky all day long, right? When you go to the beach, if you're
Yeah.
at the beach all day, do you watch the sun move across the sky?
Yeah,
Okay. What are you watching? The
All
sun
right. So what?
move across the
either it
sky.
move or either the Earth rotate.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
one or
Right.
the
So
what
other.
are you
exactly?
observing? What are you observing? Do you feel yourself moving? No. Does the water show that you're moving? No. You see the sun move across the sky every day. When you watch the sunset, is the sun just going farther away and setting due to perspective? Or are you falling over backwards on a spinning ball in a space vacuum faster than the speed of sound?
So,
That's what you have
so
to
again,
believe. That's your model.
I
That's
know,
your
but
model.
at the same time, I know you already shown this, but it's like the same analogy as turning uh 1 degree every in 24 hours. It's like you're not going to feel it. It's
That's not true. So
no,
they
no.
want you to believe in degrees. So if I'm going to give you a slice of pizza, I'm going to give you a 1 degree slice of my pizza. Is that going to fill you up? What if the pizza was 24,000 miles around? That would be enough food for you and your family for 1 million years.
yeah.
So
Listen,
is measuring in degrees accurate in showing you scale?
I mean, yeah, because if I were to spend something small in
Yeah, we're not
1 degree, it
small.
would
We're
be
big. Right. If you're on a
it's
yeah. So
merry-go-round,
therefore, it
if
would
you're on a
be
merry-go-round that's going around once a day, you'd barely notice that you're moving. Now we expand it to 24 miles in circumference. You're going 1 mile an hour, still pretty boring, but you can tell that you're moving. Now we expand it to 24,000 miles an hour. Now you're going 1,000 miles an hour in a curved line. You going to feel it? You're going
but
to
if
be
it's at
flung
a
off that thing
constant,
in a
you wouldn't
second.
feel it.
Yeah, no, you would feel it because you're turning. You're going 60 miles an hour sideways.
so turning is acceleration. But if you're constantly changing directions, you're accelerating because you're constantly changing vectors. So if you're turning a car, if you're in a car turning at a constant rate, you feel it. You can detect it at least with an accelerometer. If you're in a plane, dude, going 1,000 miles an hour, and that plane turns about a point of a radius value of 39, 59 miles, an accelerometer would detect that motion. If I take that same accelerometer and I stick it on my table, it's not going to detect motion. You know why? Because the Earth's not spinning. Now, also, they claim that the Earth has a Coriolis effect because it's spinning. So the apparent deflection of an object in a rotating system. So if I'm on top of a spinning merry-go-round and I throw a ball, do you agree it deviates because the merry-go-round spun under it? Okay. So if I throw the ball to you on the Earth, does that happen?
No,
Right. So they tell you that a sniper, when he takes a shot or a long-range shot, they have to account for Coriolis because the Earth spun under the bullet. Okay, I'll give it to you, no problem. If we're hovering in a hot air balloon, okay, for 24 hours, are we going to see the Earth scoot under us?
no, because we're moving with it.
Okay, so we
So there's
put the
no
sniper in the
Coriolis. No
so
Coriolis.
we put the sniper in the hot air balloon. What happens?
Uh,
Does he
that's a
have to
good
adjust for
question.
Coriolis?
Are you telling me that when he
So,
takes a shot from the balloon, the bullet is affected by Earth spin, but not the hovering hot air balloon he's in?
so what's their answer on why it wouldn't.
There is none.
They don't have
There
an
is
answer.
none.
They go,
There is
nah,
none.
and they gish gallop to the next nonsensical argument.
You
So you're
can't have
saying
it
all
both
snipers
ways.
are just like they're not actually taught that mechanism.
They're
It's
not.
fake.
Absolutely not. No. No. I've spoken to a military person on my TikTok page. He said he was in the military for like 50 years. I asked him, I go, okay, did you have to ever account for Coriolis when you were firing weapons? And he goes, what's Coriolis?
Was he a
You know what I
sniper
mean?
though?
Well, he shot guns. I
Yeah,
mean,
but like
any
it
gun you
only
shoot is going to be
works if you're
affected.
like super far away, right? According to their
Uh,
thing, right?
no, it does. Well, dude,
So,
it doesn't matter.
so
No.
submarines stick their periscope up. They can see a ship 100 miles away just from a few feet above the water. There should be over a mile of curvature in between that periscope. They can light up another ship with a laser beam, and they can shoot a trajectory at it and hit it in a line drive, right? There should be a mile high hill in between them, and they should have to adjust for Coriolis, which they do not, and there is not. But people just like, well, we're going to go on to the next reason I think that the Earth is a globe and ignore the things that proves it's not a globe.
Do you
Then
realize
it's
if what you're
yeah.
saying is true, okay, and we okay, I'll give it to you. We'll go in a plane right now and we'll fly north to south for 2,000 miles. We're going to land on a north to south runway at the equator. Do you think that the pilot has to adjust for Coriolis and chase that runway east 1,000 miles an hour? Do you really think that's happening? No, they treat it stationary.
Seth, if
Also, okay.
let me add on to that. Seth, if you're on a helicopter on at an airport on the equator and you go up and you hover, the Earth isn't going to go out from underneath you. You're going to stay right where you are, but you're moving at 1,000 miles an hour on the equator, right? You understand that the Earth is spinning.
Yeah.
So you're moving out just over 1,000 miles an hour, and you have that I call it the tangential speed. So when you're hovering, you're moving 1,000 miles an hour, but so's the Earth, and no problem, right? That's what you believe. How about you're in northern Alaska and you're in a helicopter? So on the equator, you're spinning around 24,000 in this big circle. But in northern Alaska, you're way up here and you're doing a much smaller circle. So you're actually moving slower, like 200 miles an hour. Right? You understand that, correct?
Yeah.
So you're in a helicopter, you're hovering in northern Alaska, you got that 200 mile an hour tangential speed. And then you fly to Ecuador. Fly to Ecuador, long range helicopter. You get there, you want to land on a runway that's facing north south. That runway is moving 1,000 miles an hour sideways. How do you gain that extra 800 miles an hour of speed to land on that runway?
I don't know.
No, you know, the answer is you don't. It's impossible. It doesn't happen. That's not reality. Not that you don't know. You do know.
Yeah.
You know that that's not reality. That way, so that's how you know that you don't have to figure it out. It's not reality.
So
how did Fred Flintstone get his car to go so fast using his feet underneath the car? Can you explain that to me? It was made of rock, and he has bare feet. How did he do it? Oh, you don't know who Fred Flintstone is? Come on. How old are you?
I mean, I know Flint. I'm 21.
The Flintstones, his car, he runs his feet, and that's how he makes the car go, right? So the answer is it's stupid. It's not reality. I don't have to explain it.
Yeah. I admit there's things that don't make sense, but there's also things that can't be explained that's like the little barrier that's keeping
Go
me
ahead.
going.
Tell me what makes you
like
think
the
the Earth is a
24
globe.
Just the fact that there's no model that can make predictions and
That's
like
not
the
true.
24-hour sun.
There are
Not
models.
true. Not true.
Okay. So can you explain the 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
Let me start. Let me start real quick. Joe Hanvey and several other people have made physical models that show a circling sun in Antarctica. Personally, I don't believe there's a circling sun in Antarctica. As I said before, if there was a circling sun, it doesn't prove anything. However, looking at history, 2014, the flat Earth movement really gets moving, and we start saying, "Hey, how come? Is there a 24-hour sun in Antarctica? We want to know." I even thought that 24-hour sun in Antarctica would prove the Earth is a globe, before I realized that the sky is way more metaphysical than I realized. So we started looking at the webcams. They have webcams down there, and in December, like, hey, here's a webcam. The sun should set, and we see a pole and a shadow, and the shadow goes around, and then it jumps. It skips 10 hours. Every day when the sun's about to set, or should set, on the flat Earth model, the camera jumps and skips 10 hours. So
if that's true, that's weird.
Well, it's true, and we have documents of it. And then we also got messages to the people there, and their answer was they do that to save bandwidth. We're like, what do you mean save bandwidth? Instead of giving us 14-hour days for a week, why don't you give us 3 days with 24 hours? And they wouldn't respond. They wouldn't answer. So that's a problem. So then it started becoming a big issue for the globe, the fact that there's no documented 24-hour sun. Boom, 2017, 3 or 4 videos come out by the same guy who's connected to NASA, the liars. Remember NASA, the liars, not a space agency? And they were proven to be faked videos, proven fake. So not just speculated, they were literally deconstructed, proven to be fake. So
what's your thoughts on the final experiment?
I'm getting there. So no scientific team, no universities, no accredited people have gone to Antarctica, documented the sun setting, not setting. No one filmed it, nothing. They put out fake videos. They're editing live cams, right? That's a problem. And then a deceptive preacher, alleged preacher, who is in huge financial trouble with the law, has another $1 million of fines against him, and he's facing jail time, comes out and says, I'm going to settle the debate. And in the lead up to this, he says, I just heard about Flat Earth 3 years ago, a proven lie, because he was the producer on the Bob Enyard radio show, and for 10 years, and Bob Enyard's show was an anti-Flat Earth show. So he's a liar, a fake preacher. He brings the most propped up YouTube paid disinfo anti-Flat Earth shills to Antarctica with 3 flat earthers. Something happened down.
I admit it's weird. So
it's beyond weird.
Austin Whitsitt, like he went, right?
Austin Whitsitt, he's still a flat earther.
So what did he see?
He saw a light in the sky that circled around. So that's what he says. That's what he says. That's what he says. Some people say that he's a shill, that he's paid, they bribed him, they scopolamined him, they replaced him. I don't know. But that's what he said he saw. That's what he reported back. Did you go?
No.
And then you have to remember also that even if there is a circling sun, which I don't believe that there is, it doesn't prove the shape of the Earth. We're not looking up at the sky at Narnia objects, gas in space, burning incredible amounts of fuel, never getting smaller, having gravity, doing everything that defies every law of physics. You want to look up at space because that's your only thing that could prove the globe to you. And space is just speculation of nonsense that break every natural law on Earth. Good, Angel. Hey, everybody, quick message that I'd like to share with all of you. Our lives are filled with toxins in our air, food, and even in the information we're taught. Avoiding them all is impossible, but helping your body detox doesn't have to be complicated. That's where Masterpiece comes in. Just 5 drops under your tongue twice a day, and that's it. Super easy, super simple, and it doesn't even taste bad. I've tried countless supplements, and while generally I'm pretty healthy, I didn't really feel much of an effect. But with Masterpiece, it delivered noticeable benefits. Check out the podcast I did with Terry from Masterpiece, linked below this video, or you can find links directly to Masterpiece on my website, flatearthdave.com, or in the shopping section on the app. The key to health is to detoxify. Now back to the show.
If I went to Antarctica and I saw the 24-hour sun, it's not going to make my observations a globe. It's not going to add curvatures to my observations. I've already debunked the globe with my Nikon P900 infrared and my Nikon P1000, and also I could show you right now that the Earth is flat and it's game over and you'd have no answer for it. Is the 24-hour sun going to make my observation curved? No. Is it going to make any observation where we see too far curved? No. So we could talk about science and how gas pressure.
Yeah. That's true, but can you, what's the explanation for the 24-hour sun?
Well, falsification's independent replacement. You haven't proved the globe yet. Did we get past
spin? Like it could be flat, but like you said, but we still see a 24-hour sun in this area.
Well, do we?
Do we?
Do we?
And if we did, we've got a model that can make it work.
I
But
mean, that's what I'm saying.
I
So
don't
what's
believe that there is a 24-hour sun. But if there was, we have an answer. So it doesn't prove either. But
so what's the
the
answer that it
globe
doesn't prove?
side, look, on a flat Earth, the models we make actually make sense. The globe heliocentric model defies every law of physics. Every law.
Yeah. So, and by the way, you have to have spin, you have to have curve, you have to have gravity, you have to have orbit of the Earth around the sun. You don't have any of those yet to claim that a 24-hour sun works on your globe. You haven't proven the globe yet.
I get what you're saying. I get
Right.
what you're saying.
And
And
do you agree if something is beyond the horizon, you can't see it on a
Right
ball?
beyond it, as
On a
in,
ball.
like if it's below it, yeah,
So
yeah,
if my fingernail is a boat and I go, it disappears beyond the horizon. Disappears. A
yeah.
5-year-old can understand that. That's why they give us Bill Nye, the lion guy, and they brainwashed 5-year-olds to believe that. Right? But it's actually true on a ball. So using the globe math and the observer height, using their math, not flat earth math, globe math, for an 8-foot observer, the horizon should be 3.5 miles away. This rig is 6 miles away. This rig is 10 miles away. The horizon should be down here. But I can see the surface of the water. Now, the surface of the water isn't something sticking out above the water. The surface of the water is the first thing that disappears, right? If you had an ant on an inch past, where your horizon is, you might see the top of the ant. But if you went a little farther, you wouldn't see them at all. But first, what you wouldn't see is the surface of the water. I could see the
Yeah.
surface of the water here. I could see it in between, and I could see it for miles beyond. There is no curvature. Do you want to hear your argument why we can see the water? It's all
Yeah.
refracting up. So every foot farther we go out, there's more curvature, but that's refracting up a little bit more, and it stops perfectly to trick you into seeing a flat surface. In reality, this water out here is 100 feet, 200 feet below where you're looking. Here there's 60 feet of curvature, so this water has refracted up 60 feet, and a little farther it's refracted up 70 feet, and a little farther it's refracted up 80 feet. There's no point where it didn't refract up high enough or it refracted up too high. It just always refracts up perfectly to trick you into thinking the Earth is flat. Or
So like
our explanation, it's flat.
yeah. So what about Lake Michigan? Like I know you can see on a certain day you can see it's what like 40 something miles. But
So
is it
do you,
true that you don't see the bottom, or is
yeah,
it
it's
true
true.
like
yeah,
can you?
Yeah, it's true.
So
bottom up obstruction is not exclusive to a globe. I can show you bottom up obstruction on a flat surface. Do you want to see that? I can pull
yeah,
up many demonstrations. I'll pull it up. All right.
So why is pulling that up? On a flat Earth or a globe Earth, you agree on foggy days you can't see across the road, right?
yeah,
On a less foggy day, maybe you can see across the road, but you can't see down the block, right? On a less
yeah.
foggy day, maybe you can see a half a mile or a mile, right? So there is visibility. But on a ball, on a perfectly clear day, there's a limit to how far you can see, right? If Angel was on top of a hill a mile away from me, I can zoom in. I see him. And then it could be a foggy day. I can't even see Angel. But then Angel walks beyond that hill, and now only his head is sticking up over the hill. I can't see his body no matter what. Right? So there's a physical limitation that the globe has that it constantly forgets about. And here is the example right here. It's forgotten about the curvature that is required to be able to see the surface of the water. Go ahead, Angel. You trying to share? So we lost
All right.
connection there for a minute, so now we're back.
Forgot what we
All
were
right.
doing.
I'll just so Seth asked about bottom up obstruction. Obviously not exclusive to a globe. I'll just demonstrate many different ways you can have bottom up obstruction on a flat surface. So the first one is atmospheric lensing. So we got a lens on a flat table acting as the atmos, and we can see in the distance there. The windmills are magnified and they appear lower due to the magnification. We move the windmill back on the flat table and it disappears bottom up while also becoming magnified. Again, on a flat table, we'll move back, bottom up disappearance. And you can see on the bottom there, that's actually a time lapse of the horizon going up and down. Optical effect. Globies will say, oh, look, that's curvature. But you just wait a few hours and it will change. So it's not the Earth breathing in and out. It's just an optical effect. So yeah, again, you walk away on flat grass and you disappear bottom up. Lensing, again, the sun sets quicker at the horizon due to the light going through a denser medium, so it appears to set just optically. You lower your camera down on a flat road, it bends the light down, creating basically an inferior mirage, which is what Lake Pontchartrain has. The Globies will say that that's curvature of the Earth, when it's literally the same effect as that flat road. So we got a little boat on the flat floor here. We lower the camera down, bit of miraging happens, and the bottom of the boat disappears, which is exactly the effects we see on the water with all the evaporation and stuff. This is actually a video I took, and you can see how there's like a inverted mirage here. The bottom of the boat looks like it's sinking. It's like mirrored, and that's going to happen on the flat road as well on the top there. So this one's the really interesting one, though. I've overlaid the actual horizon from a video I took on this flat track, the flat running track. We obviously know that that's built flat, and you see how that matches up perfectly. Now, what's going to happen is these people are just going to simply walk away, and by the time they're all the way at the end of the track, they're disappeared up almost to the waist, so above the knee, so you can clearly see that.
And let me explain this on this one. So when you're looking out over the water, the marine layer is the thickest air, and over distance it ramps up. So the grass, see the grass that's just beyond the dirt, that grass is a little bit higher than the camera lens, right? But that grass in the foreground looks like it's at your eye level, but it's a little higher. And so they're walking behind it. They're just being hidden from the bottom up. Same thing happens. The marine layer, the waves, the Globies with their two giant barges in the distance, it's blowing like 50 knots that day. There's like 10-foot waves out there. And those waves literally just create a false horizon higher than the view level in that distance. The boat, the wave that grass is a certain height, right? It's like that false horizon, a certain height, and as something gets farther and farther away, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, so it's disappearing beyond that.
Yeah, and for the last one here, it's very simple. Like you zoom in onto a boat in the distance, right? And this is about on a 3-foot post. We can see the horizons behind the boat. Now, all we're going to do is lower the camera down, zoom in again, and guess what? The bottom of the boat's now gone. Now, this is what Globies would call curvature, except the horizon's still behind the boat. So when we compare that, all we did is move lower, and now the angle to the bottom of the boat has decreased, and now the bottom of the boat's missing.
And they'll claim because we lowered it, we're now experiencing the curvature, but the horizon is beyond the boat. If the horizon is beyond the boat, the surface of the water, which is lower than any part of the boat, is visible beyond it. That's not the horizon. It's an optical thing. Seth.
I agree with that.
Seth, what's your reason you think the Earth is a globe?
And see, like I said, there's things I'm iffy about.
Well, give it to us, because everything you've showed us, where we're showing you, and you can go verify all this stuff. Everything we showed you very clearly. We've taken away those things, the star rotation, everything we talked about. What's holding you to the globe now? Gravity's holding you to the globe.
Okay, so what's the farthest that we're able to see? Like, what's the is Lake Michigan, is that the farthest?
It depends. Like some days, like I go to my local beach. Some days I can see all the way to the shoreline with my infrared camera, but that's infrared, right? So with my naked eyes, I can't see anything, but my camera picks it up. It's not behind curvature. It's just there's too much gas between me and the target. But go ahead.
Here's a world record photo. Not flat earthers. They just took this photo on a very clear day, 275 miles away, right? The target hidden height is 16,000 and change. The mountain out here is 12,687 feet. If you have 16,000 of hidden height, according to the globe math, using our altitude where this picture was taken, the top of that mountain should be almost 3,800 feet below the horizon, but we still see all these mountains out here. So,
So,
yeah, go ahead.
so Seth, let me ask you a question. Very simple. If you duck behind a hill, if we're at a park, you walk over behind a hill, you're behind it. Can I see you?
No.
Okay, so when something's
Like we
behind
win.
the, yeah,
Bathroom break?
not sure.
All right.
My bad. I'm just telling you to be
Oh,
quiet.
no worries.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so if you duck behind a hill, obviously I can't see you. You're physically obstructed, right? So if we invoke magical refraction without invoking another medium, I'm not going to see you. You're still going to be hidden behind that mountain. So it doesn't matter how much refraction you want to invoke, things don't just start appearing up and around curvature. It's insane.
Do you,
So I gotta think.
Seth, do you see me
Go
right now? Do
like you
you see me?
or like yeah.
You see me? What if I turned off every light in this room? Would you be able to see me?
Maybe it's
So,
that night vision.
well, there's no
Actually,
light. There's zero light.
no.
There's no light.
I'm just
So you
messing with
couldn't
you.
see me,
No.
right? So you're seeing the light that's bouncing off of me, right?
Yeah.
I actually have lights over here, right? So would you say that the source of those lights is brighter than the light that's bouncing off of me?
Yeah.
Okay. So here we have a shot from Aluja, France. Mount Canigou is 175 miles out there, but we can't see it because from this viewing spot, globe math, top of the mountain should be over half a mile below the curve. Can't see it. Earth is a globe, right? So, but the sun migrates in between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, and twice a year, the sun will line up with the viewing spot and Mount Canigou. So what's brighter, the light that's bouncing off of Mount Canigou or the sun itself? The sun, of course,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? So as the sun goes away, appearing to go down due to perspective, it starts backlighting Mount Canigou. Jump forward a little bit, and we can see the whole mountain range where the top right there should be over a half a mile below the curve. Do you want to hear the globe explanation for this? They admit
Yeah.
all these numbers are right. They say the mountain is below the curve. The top of the mountain's over half a mile below the physical curve. The sun has already set, but it's refracting up, and the dark mountain is refracting up and blocking out the sun. Do you know why you can't figure that out? You know why that doesn't make any sense? Because it's fucking stupid. Okay?
Yeah.
Do you know what our explanation for this is?
Then it's flat.
Mount Canigou. It's right there.
Yeah, we just see it. We see Mount
we see
Canigou.
it.
Yeah,
We see it.
it's there.
The sun can push through 175 miles of soup. The light reflecting off Mount Canigou on the other days cannot. It's not as bright.
That's weird.
It's not weird. Earth is flat. That's not weird. No, it's weird clinging to your globe's base religion.
Like I said,
That's weird.
there's things I'm iffy about, but there's things that
What are you
all
still
make sense.
iffy about?
So
What
I
haven't we
mean,
covered?
like
What's holding you
we
to the
talked
ball?
about. I mean, I have some notes that of things that I wanted to talk about. So I'm gonna see if there's any. Um,
We've gone an hour. Bring up your top globe sticking points.
so I'm not sure if this is true, but hurricanes apparently in different hemispheres rotate based on the hemisphere that they're in.
Mostly true, sometime not true though. That debunks the globe. But the reason is the sun goes around the excuse me. The sun goes around the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, and they, in my opinion, they create an electromagnetic wake through the atmosphere. So if you push your hand through water or paddle through water, you're going to get counter-rotating vortices from that wake.
Yeah,
Angel, what do you think?
Yeah, again, doesn't prove a globe. I mean, wind goes in all directions for one, and again, that's a Coriolis claim. If weather systems are affected by Coriolis, and that's the reason why they spin in opposite ways, then if I let go of a helium balloon, the Earth should rotate under that. If we hover a helicopter, the Earth should rotate under that. It should rotate under everything else. That's called a special Pleiades fallacy. You're saying Coriolis is the reason why hurricanes are spinning an opposite way, but then when we test Coriolis on everything else, it doesn't show up. It's not working. It's not there. So
You're saying it's not always true that they spin the way that they say it does in certain
Occasionally,
situations.
a storm will come in the other direction. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there's things called anti-typhoons and anti-cyclones as well, which go the other way. So yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, there's.
What else?
Let me see if I have anything. Also, I have a question though. Like Lake Michigan, for example, is curvature different? Would curvature be different for something that is on a continent, on a lake, versus something sea level? Like, would
No, the sea level conforms to the curvature of your globe, right? So every single part of the globe has to conform to that 8 inches per mile squared. If it's not, then it's not a globe, basically. So,
mm,
and we can
I don't
see
know.
we can see Michigan for too far away. We can see it, and it's there on a clear day.
Milwaukee Lights visible from Lake Michigan Beach, 80 miles away. 80 miles. How much curvature in 80 miles? We can see the buildings. Now, where are the bottoms of the buildings? What's the measurement? 80 miles. The amount of curvature is just absolutely
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's more than 2,000 feet at least. Yeah.
Yeah. You would need buildings 3 or 4 times the height of the World Trade Towers to be able to see them.
So are those the buildings?
Those are
Like the tops
that's
of them?
the,
Or-
it's
The
at that
lights.
point, it's just a blur. We can see some of the lights.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if they're on the tops of the buildings or not. The buildings have to be incredibly just taller than any buildings on Earth ever.
You realize, Seth, that we've debunked the radius value of the globe way, way past what it should be. Now, the problem with that is you can't just say, oh, well, it could be a bigger globe, because everything about the heliocentric paradigm hinges on that radius value being correct, right? Distances to the moon, distances to the sun, gravity formulas, orbital mechanics, day and night cycles, speed of the Earth. If we increase the radius value of the Earth, by the way, we have observations that would make it so big it'd be touching the moon right now. Well, I'm sorry, but the whole heliocentric model falls apart like a house of cards. So it's either the radius value is correct and it's all the horizon's always 1.225 miles times the square root of the observer's height in feet, or it's flat. It can't be a bigger ball. If you cop
Yeah.
out by saying it's a bigger ball, everything else is wrong.
Yeah. I agree. Well, I'll admit there's things I don't get now. Um, like if
Oh,
everything you're saying
you
is
muted,
true, it
Dave.
makes sense.
You know that high
And
frequency microwaves need line of sight. So there's a thing called the LoRa transmission went from a boat to a buoy. So now let's say this is the top of the boat is 30 feet high. We'll give the boat a benefit of the doubt. It shouldn't be able to go 10 miles because there's 60 feet of curvature. 60 feet of curvature. It shouldn't be able to go 10 miles, but this thing went 800 miles. Line of sight, 800 miles. That's 85 miles of curvature. But it worked. And they admit these microwaves cannot bounce off of the ionosphere. They cannot go through the Earth. They need line of sight.
what's
You
their
want
claim on how it
you
works?
want the Glober argument is nah.
Yeah, it's curving around the globe perfectly, bouncing off that boat to the buoy, from the buoy, going all the way back around the curve that perfect amount and hitting the boat again. Or maybe it's just line of sight, like a laser beam coming back. Like their claim is insanity. Like at what point do you say, okay, maybe it's just flat? The whole reason why they came up with the ionosphere excuse is because they sent out a radar transmission, I believe in the early 1900s. It was Marconi who sent out a transmission over the Atlantic that went over 2,000 miles. And they were all telling him, dude, it's not going to work. The curvature is going to get in the way. It's not going to work. He did it anyway. In the first try, they received the signal, 2,000 miles. Goodbye, globe. Game over.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if everything you're saying is true, it makes sense. But I have to take it at
Verify
wow.
everything that we're saying. It's all
Yeah,
verifiable. Looking up at the lights in the sky and making up stories about them, which are provably false. We wouldn't be able to see Polaris if it was 2 light months away. At the
so
side,
what
they
do you
tell.
think like the origin of the Earth is? Like, what do you think like the
Well,
like?
that
Tell me about like not like like where it came from, but like what do you think the history is?
Well, I think, well, it was definitely
Because it'd have to be
created.
fake if
Okay.
the globe is fake. Like,
yeah,
Yeah, well, we're a level topographical plane. We're enclosed. We're an enclosed system, and we're the center of creation. And we don't know how far out the Earth extends to. It could extend out to 1 million miles. We don't know. We can't go there. The Antarctic Treaty prevents us from going there independently and just exploring.
yeah,
I'm in Australia. If I had a pilot's license and I could fly, and I went just due south, I could not go there independently and just look what's there.
yeah.
They don't
Like
let you
I'm
do it.
aware of that. So is it true though that they have that boat race where they go around Antarctica?
yeah, but
Yeah.
they don't go anywhere near Antarctica. They go like 50 degrees south and even higher. And the amount of distance that they're claiming, which is GPS globe distances, if you take the time it took them to do the race and the distance, their average speed is 4 miles per hour.
Yeah,
Four
which
miles
is
per hour.
slow,
That's like saying,
very slow.
hey, Seth, I won the Indy 500 in my Volkswagen. My average speed was 25 miles an hour, but I won. Right? It's
Yeah,
nonsense. And there are captains of that have done the race that say that the Earth is flat and they're using GPS to hide it.
They're basically lying about the speeds they do. So the distances is completely wrong. And also
yeah,
there is
mm,
that testimony from forgot who it was, Dave, the one that said he was turning away from Antarctica, basically.
Yeah.
Which, yeah. And by the way, Seth, the fact that the compass points north, I'm in Australia, I'm in the south. Compass points north. So if the compass points north, it's game over. If I circumnavigate the Earth, which by the way, circumnavigating on a globe or a flat Earth is the same thing, you'd have to turn in a circle, right?
yeah,
If the compass points north, I'm always correcting to the north.
Do you
So if I'm in
understand
the
that?
south and I want to, yeah.
yeah. I somewhat understand that. So you're basically saying you go around and
let,
no
let
matter
me
which
show
way,
you.
it's constantly
Let,
correcting.
let me show you. So this is the north, right? But they tell us, right? They tell us that north, our compass points in all different directions. So I have a compass here, and the north south line up with these straight lines. Agreed? That's how north south works on this map.
Yeah,
So east and west are right angles to this north south line. So if I try to make this plane go west, I got to keep turning the compass to keep these lined up with north south,
yeah,
and I come right back to where I went. So is this airplane turning right or left? It's turning to the right.
yeah.
You with me?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so if the
That's
compass
weird.
points north, it on a globe though, you'd have to turn the opposite way, but it still points north. So the compass is telling you you're turning right. On a globe, you'd have to turn left because you're upside down on a ball. It
so
inverts.
far south on a globe to go around the South Pole, you'd have to turn left. But if your compass is pointing north, how do you turn left and keep your heading?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
You'd
don't.
have to point south. The compass in the south would have to point south for you to turn the right way on a globe, and it doesn't do that. It
Check
still
this out.
points
This
north.
this was someone I did an interview with said, "Hey Dave, I'm sitting with a guy who wants the Bitcoin. I'm offer 3 Bitcoins for one globe proof.
yeah,
He's a pilot. He said that the Earth is round and he can prove it. He wants to know when he goes from North Dakota to Vegas, he starts off at a heading of 223 degrees. But when he gets to Vegas, he's 215, and it's all on autopilot. How does that work if the Earth isn't a globe? And I said, like this. Again, here we are. They tell us north, south. That doesn't make any sense. East is not that way, right? The compass is just for your personal location, right where you are, right? This is the real compass. South is every direction away from north. So east and west are circles. So when I go west, as I showed you, I have to keep turning to the right. So here's my compass. Look, north-south is all lined up. North-south, north-south. So west is a circle around, just like I showed you. Now, on a globe, an airplane here has to keep turning to the right, turning to the right, turning to the right, turning to the right. You with me? It's turning to the right to maintain that western heading, right? Because these are north-south lines. So it's turning to the right because its compass is pointing towards the center. In the south, it would have to turn to the left on a globe. So on the equator, he could fly straight, theoretically. And in the south, he has to turn left. Remember, his compass is pointing north. So when he turns left, he lost his 90-degree angle to north. But his compass is pointing north. This is not reality. That's why you can't figure it out. So hang on. 270 degrees is this way, and out here, 270 degrees is this way. So if we look, we've got North Dakota and we've got Vegas. So here's a compass, 215 to 223. So I have this compass lined up north-south, and I've got my 223 degrees right there. And I've got this compass lined up north-south, and I got my 215, whatever, the 215 there. So when he starts taking off, 223 degrees, 222, 221, all the way down to 215. Straight line, and it changes because he's changing his orientation. This compass is turned clockwise a little bit, so his degrees change. It's very simple. It works perfectly. It works absolutely perfectly. He told me those numbers, and I said, let me model out for you. And I had never done this. I never even looked to where this is. And I said, I know it's going to work perfectly. Like he could have said, what is my compass heading from North Dakota to Vegas? And I could have zoomed in. I could have lined up the compass. I would say you would leave North Dakota around 223 degrees, and you'd end up in Vegas on a straight line at 215 degrees. I can do that. I can predict that with a flat Earth map.
Okay.
Which, by the way, Seth, you realize that I've debated many pilots. Glober, doesn't matter who they are, the pilot is always going to assume the Earth is flat and stationary. They do not adjust for curvature. They do not adjust for Earth rotation, ever. And that's a major problem because I could show you a simple model where if you're on a ball and you're on the ball, you'd have to reorientate the plane and change nose down. Obviously, that does not happen in reality.
So correct me if I'm wrong, because I think I've heard about this, but I think their explanation would be that it does it itself, like it kind of like in order to stay level. Like,
where's it on the pitch data? Where's that on the pitch? We've got pitch data for an aircrafts that fly that don't show that. They can say that all they want. It doesn't happen though. Okay. It's not happening. Okay. So they can either invoke gravity, barometric pressure, or the aircraft is just designed to do it itself. But no, the problem is the barometric pressure. They're saying that it's just following the curvature of the Earth because it's curved.
Give me one second. My AirPods just died.
Right, we hear you.
Yeah, we can actually hear you.
Can you hear us?
Wait, say something.
There you go. I mean, we hear you.
Cool.
So, an airplane. I was coming into I was sleeping on the plane. All of a sudden, the plane starts descending a little bit. Whoa! I woke up because I noticed the change from a straight path. And the pilot says we're 125 miles out. We'll be in there around 20 minutes or whatever. Seats up, get ready. And so the pilot has to do a calculation from his altitude to the airport saying how many feet per mile does he need to drop to hit the runway. It's called the top of descent, right? Is that what it's called? Top of descent? And so he's doing this calculation, very straightforward, simple calculation without adjusting for curvature. But at 125 miles, there's 2 miles of curvature. So when he gets to the airport, he's going to be 2 miles too high because he didn't calculate it for it. But he doesn't calculate it for it, and he does make it to the runway. What's your explanation for that?
Welcome to Flat Earth.
Earth is flat. That's your explanation.
No, I mean, it's if everything you're saying is true, it makes sense. But I
Okay.
have to take it at base faith. You know what I mean? Because I
So-
can have a guy
Well-
that says the opposite. and
Well, you have a guy
it's
that
all up
says
to
the opposite.
burden of
We've
proof.
shown you the proof. We've shown
Yeah,
you
no,
the stuff,
it
and you can
makes
go
sense
verify
what
it.
you're saying.
Everything you showed us came from Disney, Brian Box, and NASA.
Wait, so what makes you think Brian Cox is lying? I'm just curious. Or
Brian
'cause
Cox said there are no civilizations that have ever believed in flat Earth. That's what he said.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. I mean,
True.
Yeah,
yeah.
he said that.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, even they agreed there was flat earthers at one point. So
Right.
how can that be true?
Every
nobody can deny
ancient
that.
civilization that we know about was flat Earth except NASA. Did you know that when Christopher Columbus allegedly discovered America, the Native Americans, that there was ruins, like they're still around today, of a highly advanced civilization that was here before the Indians, and the Indians didn't know who they were, where they came from. That was did they teach you that in school? They didn't teach me that in school.
So is that true though?
Any textbook before 1910 would have that information in it, talking about the advanced civilization that was here. And
You
if
can
you
find that. I would like to see that because that's interesting.
you can actually, if you go on my app, you go to the old world page. My lunch break. You ever hear of him?
Yeah,
Go
I've watched.
start watch his stuff, and then you'll see it. There's so much stuff on that. It'll blow your mind. But again, that's just proof that the people that are telling the story of our history are lying to us. They're keeping us in their little timeline of what they want us to believe. They're telling us everything in coded messages. It's revelation of the method. They always tell us. But they're hiding our true potential. They're hiding, everything that makes us human.
Yeah.
But
You're
for
like,
some reason,
I mean, what
you're
you're saying
still
makes
fighting.
sense.
You're still fighting to defend the
No,
globe.
no, no, no.
No,
No,
I get
okay.
you. Listen, you're very cool, very cordial, but you, and we were too, you are highly indoctrinated, highly, right? And you're holding us to a high standard. Let me verify this. You said it. If everything we said is true, that's a big problem for the globe. But the stuff that you presented to us is verifiably false, but you haven't bothered to do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what you're saying makes sense, but I need to hear someone else's point of view in order to kind of like, because if they could bring something to my attention that,
Like what?
no, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's
So
where
are
I
you
need to
saying you
hear
have
people's.
nothing right now? You have nothing to
No, no,
prove the globe? Do you have anything to
I'm
prove the globe
saying,
right now?
I'm saying what you're saying makes sense,
Let me ask you a
but I need
question.
to.
The black swan I showed you, the oil rigs. Do you have an explanation for how that works on a globe? The Mount Canigou. Do you have an explanation for how that works on a globe? The star sizes, the fact that we can see them when we know that the angular size of Polaris at 2 light months away would be too small to see, but they're telling us it's 433 light years away, and we can still see it with our naked eye. Do you understand how that's impossible?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't
Yes.
make sense. It's because it's impossible. And the brightness issue also. Every time you double the distance to a star, it's a quarter of the brightness. How come they're all the same brightness? How come they're all at the same focal length, and so are the planets? You zoom in on a planet, move to a star, it's in focus. What's up with that?
Yeah, it's weird.
Well, there's a lot of weird.
Yeah,
So,
I'm,
any globe proof before we wrap this up? No globe proof. Andrew, you got any
like I
flat
said,
Earth proof?
I'm gonna look into, I'm gonna see what
Yeah.
other people are saying, but
I'm not one of those guys that just like, oh, he said something, I'm just gonna believe it. So
If you want to
I'm a
see
fact
what the
check.
Globers are saying, just Google "is the Earth flat?" and you'll get to see what the Globers are saying. You won't get
Yeah.
to see what we're saying.
No, I'm saying like to I want to like ask like ChatGPT for example, uh, why can't
Dude,
this star should be this distance? Why isn't it? And I want to see what the answer on what they say
Seth,
is.
I've debated people on my TikTok, and some young kids, right? They come up, and I let them do it. They come up, they have nothing, and they go, okay, let me ask ChatGPT. I'm like, go ahead, and we go point by point, and every single thing that ChatGPT brings up, I we just cook it like we did here.
Yeah.
It's always the same stuff.
So could we
Dave,
do
you're
that real
muted.
quick
I
with the
know.
could you
Ch-
do that real quick with the stars? The what was that
ChatGPT
one that
brings up the same nonsense arguments with no proof. They'll make claims not true.
so what's its claim on like that one star that you showed that you said it should be this size and it's
Well,
not.
they're
Like
telling us
what's
the size and the distance, and it's
to make it
50
work?
trillion times, 52 million times farther away. It's not
So what's
52
the
million.
explanation? What did they say?
Nuh-uh.
There,
That's their
there is
explanation.
there is
Yeah,
nothing. It's
they
if
won't address it.
you have to go against the inverse square law of light in math, basic math, dude. You, there is no answer to it.
Yeah.
And the answer is to deny science. That's the answer. You have to basically deny science to answer it. You have to deny the inverse square law of light and light attenuation and basic math and the inverse square law between distance and size.
Yeah, it's easier to say things disappear from the bottom up going over a ball because a 5-year-old can understand that. But to understand your angular view, atmospheric magnification, the ramp of opacity with the marine layer, how our eyes work, that's more complicated, takes more effort, but it's true. But
Yeah.
and how to understand that the horizon that you see is high above your eye level, but it looks like it's at eye level, right? If I'm at the
Yeah.
shoreline of the water and there's higher land with big tree line, that tree line's way above me. But if I go a couple miles out, that tree line looks like it's at my eye level. If I go way out, I can't even
Yeah.
make out the trees. It's just a line. So as the sun goes away, it just goes beyond it. It goes beyond
Okay,
it.
so everything you're saying makes sense, but I got some other questions. What do you think about like radiometric dating, and like how old the Earth is? Like, how old do you think the Earth is, and what do you think about that topic about radiometric dating and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I have no opinion on it. I don't think it's the Earth is like billions of years old, like they claim. But again, not really anything to do with the shape of the Earth, so I don't
Yeah, no,
really
it's
have an
just
opinion.
yeah,
And
no,
they've
it's just
proven
I
they've
was
proven
curious.
that the carbon dating is nonsense. They can't tell you how old a rock is. There was some people that found that had some they found some dinosaur bones or alleged bones and like, yeah, these are dinosaur bones and they're 10 million years old. They brought it to a lab and the lab said it was 10,000 years old. Right. And then they told them, well, these are dinosaur bones. And the lab banned them from ever coming to, using their lab again. Because when you go to the lab, you say, I've got these bones, they're dinosaurs. So they turn the dial up to 10 million years and then they tell you how old it is. Oh, it's 10 million years old. It's nonsense. Now, yeah, you can look at decaying, organic matter. Yeah, this is 100 years old. This is 500 years old. Maybe, but they don't go back millions of years.
So, but, like, that's what I mean. I know it's off topic. It doesn't have anything to do. It's just I was curious, just because I mean, it does kind of have to do with It's like if this isn't true, then how old is the Earth? What's the origin of it? Those are my questions.
I
If what you're
think the
saying is
Earth
true.
is created by and God, angels. I mean, if you look into the old world stuff and meltology and stuff, I just watched a video this morning. Um, in where is it? In Turkey, there's these mountains, and it if you look at it, it looks like a melted kingdom. It does, but then they go into the mountain. There's like temples and cathedrals inside this mountain, right? So
Dang.
so something happened to this world. I think this world was nothing like it is today. We're literally living in a post-apocalyptic world, right? This world was absolutely amazing in harmony and vibration. It was an incredible place with technology that we can't even imagine today. And and here we're living in this timeline. Go ahead, Angel.
I want to show you something on the, because you're going to see this yourself one day with your naked eyes, and it's very important to show what we are talking about earlier with the inverse square law of light. So I'll show you this. Do you see this on the screen?
Come on, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the top image is the inverse square law of light. You double the distance of a light source, it becomes 1/4 of its luminosity, and it spreads out over distance. Now
Yeah, I'm
that's
aware
what
of.
I'm demonstrating that on my table here. So the further you go out, the less the brightness, and it basically attenuates. So the sun and moon have this effect. Obviously, they have to. They're lights either way you look at it. So the problem is here, we can see the moon, especially with the moon, it's locally illuminating the clouds here. Now, the moon, they claim, is about 250,000 miles away, nowhere near the clouds, all the way out in space, nowhere near the Earth. Same as the sun, even worse with the sun. It's 93 million miles away. But we can see that. Do you see how it's locally illuminating the clouds? It's kind of
Yeah.
got that local light illumination. So if I get a piece of paper and I get a flashlight, let me just actually end the share. So, and I put the flashlight close, it's going to locally illuminate the paper. But if I move that piece of paper back, the light back, it's now going to illuminate the paper evenly, right? So if we look at the sun and moon again, it's locally illuminating the clouds. That's literally impossible. That violates the inverse square law of light, according to the
What are you
heliocentric
saying,
model.
Angel, that the sun and the moon are right in the clouds?
Well, they're much more localized.
Okay,
Well,
so
They're
yeah, no,
not.
that
so
that does make sense. So
yeah, so
what
just
would be?
just remember, I don't think the sun and the moon that we see are the physical sun and the moon. I think that they are appearing in our dome of vision. Let me show you what I mean by that. So here I have. Give me a second. Where is it? Okay, here I have. I got my room. I separated it with a sheet, and I'm 10 feet on the other side. I have a light, and it's actually a square light, but it looks pretty round, right? So this sheet represents the vision, our dome of vision, right? So my wife is to the left of me, and I see the sun right here. But where does she see it? So if I'm over here, I see it there. She sees it over there. At the same time that she's seeing it over here, I see it right there. So we're seeing the same thing in two different positions.
That makes
So,
sense. Yeah.
yeah. So that's how we see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see the sun and moon in apparent locations. It's kind of think of it like a rainbow. When you move, that rainbow appears to move, right? It's not in a physical location. You could even Google like why do we is the rainbow in a physical location? We'll say no, it's not in a physical location because it's an optical illusion. That's exactly what I don't think the sun and moon are actually physical objects at all.
And to make a rainbow, you need a reflective surface, and the rainbow reflects the shape of that surface.
Yeah, I've seen the rainbows
No.
where it's like what's it where the it almost looks like a little dome or whatever.
On my app,
Yeah.
I have an entire rainbow section. It's the last one right here in the frequently asked questions page. So check that out. Lots of good
Real
videos
quick,
there.
last question. What do you think about like time zones and like because Argentina doesn't that don't they have like a 15, 16, 17 hour sun or something?
So did you know that in the north and south, there's different amounts of time zones?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. In the north, there's 19 time zones, and in the south, there's 32 time zones. In the tropics,
Yeah.
there's 24 time zones. Can you explain that on a ball? No, I can't explain it on a ball. Okay.
It's not stupid. No,
So
it's fine.
wherever the sun is, it's noon. So the time zones spin with noon, right? So let's take a look. I'm here in Connecticut, right? And it's about 9:30 in the morning, right? Makes sense. 9:30 in the morning, lying up. Connecticut. You're in Australia. You're near Sydney on the Sydney side, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like 11 o'clock at night ish.
Well, yeah, daylight saving, but yeah, it's 12:30 a.m.
Okay, because of daylight savings. Yeah, so we have a different time. That's why they do it. They switch our time up just to throw us off kilter.
Yeah. Well,
No joke.
Yeah, the sun moves locally above the Earth, and like I showed you with that flat table, you have a localized light source and it illuminates a portion of that table. So the sun's light, as it moves away from you, the light attenuates through because we live in gas, we live in a medium, and that light will attenuate over distance, meaning it becomes absorbed, and then that light doesn't travel forever and it becomes nighttime. Very simple.
that makes sense. Well, man, like what you guys are saying does make sense. I do need to obviously, like you said, do some
Seth,
research for myself
if
and
you go
verify
to
things.
ChatGPT and you Google, they're gonna
Yeah,
just
I know
tire
that.
your
I know
brain
that.
out. Go to my website, watch the crash course videos, use the frequently asked questions on the app. To just look and make up your own mind, but don't let liars dissuade you. Like, I'm going to put this video up, and the trolls are going to come in hard. They're going to comment on everyone's comments. They're going to do everything. Actually, when it's on my channel, I literally don't. I ban them all. So, but when I do podcasts on other channels, you'll see all the flat earth. Wow, this is great. Everything's true. And then the same trolls come in, bam, 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 just commenting for days and days and days and weeks on end. But if you look at their channels, they're all empty channels. Empty. The flat
Yeah, that's
earthers that are
weird.
making the comments, they're all real people, real channels. But they're all empty channels. And they never offer a globe proof. So why are there bots after endless teams of bots trolling my videos? Something's up.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. All right, Seth. I've had enough.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate you guys talking to me. I had a good time and
All right, man. Thanks. Appreciate your good support. Just keep researching and stop believing in nonsense. All right.
gotcha.
I'm
It's
gonna.
nice meeting
Thanks.
you
Take
guys.
care.
All right. See you, Seth. Bye.
See you.
So,
Dude, if he was on my TikTok page, he would have been gone in like a minute.
yeah. you know, I think he's being. I mean, what do you call it? Is he not intellectually honest? He's just not being honest with himself. But I don't think he's out here trolling. I don't think he's trolling. I think he's just very brainwashed.
Yeah. I think halfway through that he kind of like almost gave up and it's like he just had nothing. And we had to like come up for stuff for him, like he didn't have anything.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know why we should have I don't know why we didn't go through the Lake Pontchartrain thing. I mean
Oh,
he
well, you know what? I forgot about it.
I was gonna bring it up, but then I'm like, oh, we're kind of like way off topic now, so
Yeah, I mean the
left
Lake
it. But
Pontchartrain. My lunch break literally got the original plans. There's two sets of plans, like 1958 and 2 years later, and there's no mention of curvature. But then in 2017, they added one page that talked about
yeah,
curvature.
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
You
it's
know
great.
what's funny is why is a 21-year-old saying
Is he
that Lake
21?
Pontchartrain? That's what he said.
Okay,
Why is he saying a 21-year-old saying that Lake Pontchartrain took into account the curvature of the Earth?
because he's listening to McToon and all of the other nonsensical, the Professor Dave. He's listening
Oh
to
my
the anti-flat
God.
earthers, and he's taking their points.
I didn't realize he was that young either. I'm telling you, he would have been gone in a minute on my thing. Because
I, I was going to ask
what
like
was
three
that?
times. I was going to ask him his age. I didn't hear him say he was 21. So
He was
um,
21.
that's the 18 to 21 are the worst. Like
Yeah.
the kids that we talk to, the high school kids, they are so dumb.
Oh, they're bad. No,
It's so
bad.
bad. It's so bad.
That
And
letter,
and
yeah.
and when you mentioned in one of the classes, you brought up God, and boom, the entire. Did you read all the letters that they sent us?
Oh,
When you mention God, it just shuts them down. So the school not only is teaching the heliocentrism, they're really teaching don't believe in God,
athe- atheism. Yeah.
atheism. It's
Wow.
incredible. And then and the other, I found it interesting that the other thing that none of them could even fathom is that our governments are controlled by a secret society, cabal, whatever you want to call it. They couldn't even fathom that that was an option.
No, no. They're so like wow, and they're
So
confident,
brainwashed.
so confident, and so brainwashed, and they know nothing. They
It's
know nothing.
amazing. Amazing. All right, I'm going to end this. Thanks, buddy. Buddy, well, that was Good exercise. Good patience. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stop
No worries.
recording.
Thanks.
Remember when the Flat Earth awakening first began, and the globe defenders would laugh and say, "Good luck finding a job. Nobody will hire a flat earther." But something incredible happened. People started trusting their own eyes, their own senses, and their own ability to think. Millions began questioning the narrative. Millions began waking up. And now many of us realize something important. We don't just want to just know some critical thinkers. We want to work with them too. So we created something new, introducing the jobs board on the Flat Earth Clock app, a place where critical thinkers can hire and be hired by other critical thinkers. Right now, there are only a handful of jobs listed by awake people getting things started. But watch it grow throughout the year. You might find the perfect employee or the perfect job. The future is being built by people who think for themselves. Are you a blue dot?